Do you have a mentor? Do you have a sponsor? And do you know the difference? Today, we're going to be talking about both because I'm going to encourage you that whilst you probably already have a mentor, especially if you're in science, you also need to find a sponsor, and the two may not be the same individual. So, welcome to Educated STEM. I'm Kate, the founder of Educated STEM, and let's get into it. So, what is a mentor? A mentor is someone who teaches you or gives advice to a less experienced individual. So if you've gone through graduate school, you probably have someone that you consider a mentor, and it's probably the person who trained you, right? But let's face it, after you finish your graduate education, they may not then give you advice in the future. They may not open doors. They may not put your name forward for various opportunities, because at some point your interests may go against theirs, because you are going to leave them, you're going to move on to a postdoc or some other thing. And what happens if you become a direct competitor? They are not necessarily going to be advising you on how to do better than they are. So you need someone who you can get advice from and who will encourage you and maybe even open those doors and put your name forward if they are given the opportunity in order to do so. So that is called a sponsor. This is someone who you don't necessarily even need to work for. It's just someone who takes responsibility of you, maybe during an apprenticeship, but they also vouch for you. So if an opportunity comes up, they're in a meeting and they say, this needs to be done, your sponsor, if they think that you are suitable, will say, hey, I know someone who could potentially do that for you. They're great. They have these qualities, please consider them. And so they're pushing you forward. And so I've been lucky enough to have some amazing sponsors, and they've usually also been my mentor, but I have just lucked out that way. So if your mentor isn't someone who you think is going to do that for you, you need to look out for someone else to act as your sponsor. And you can have many mentors in your life, you can have many sponsors in your life, and they can be on completely different subjects. So you probably have a scientific mentor, but maybe you need someone else to talk about professionalism or how to balance work and life, or maybe management or leadership skills. So you need to find someone that you admire and that you want to learn from and build a solid relationship with this person, because they're not going to put you forward if they have any doubts about your suitability, because once they vouch for you, you are then sort of tied to them. If it doesn't go well, then they might have lost some of the respect of the individuals that heard them endorse you. So again, having a sponsor is important because they are taking a risk by endorsing and encouraging you in front of others. So this is a relationship that you need to take seriously, and you definitely need to ensure that at no point do you then cause them embarrassment and maybe regret putting you forward for these various opportunities. So you need to consider, how do you show someone that you are good enough in order for them to act as a sponsor for you? And so I think that there are three factors to kind of show potential sponsors that if they act as that it's worth the risk. And so the first is gravitas, or maybe the it factor. So you are confident, you have accomplishments in whatever area it is that they are going to be endorsing you on. You have credibility, you have maybe training and the credentials. So you have all of what is necessary in order to be successful in this particular sphere or realm. You also need communication skills, which is number 2. You need to be able to persuade people that you have all of these skills and that you are going to be able to communicate that, whether that is verbally, whether that is in a written form. You need to be able to show that you have enough presence that people are going to trust and believe that you are capable at doing all of these things. And the third one is appearance. because you can be wonderful, you can have the it factor, you can communicate that you have the it factor. But then if you come along and you're scruffy, you have unkept hair, you've got food stains all down your front, and especially if they've met you a few times and you've never quite looked professional any of the times, then that's a red flag right there, because nobody wants to endorse you if they would be embarrassed with you stood next to them. So make sure that you look the part. If you are currently a graduate student or a postdoc and you want to move into more of a management position, then maybe you need to stop wearing postdoc clothes and start wearing more business professional, that kind of thing. Maybe you don't need to wear a full suit, but maybe a blazer or a button-down shirt or something like that, just to make sure that you look a little bit more put together, so that when your sponsor then does push you forward, then maybe whoever they're talking to is like, oh, that's the really well-dressed graduate student or postdoc. Yeah, they're already looking professional. I will take a risk on them and move them into this administrative role or something like that. So make sure that your sponsor is someone that you have a good relationship with. They know what you can do. They know what you can't do. Maybe they know that what you want to do, because then when the opportunities come up, they can open those doors for you. But also don't take them for granted. This is a relationship that you need to nurture, because maybe they've opened one door for you. It's gone great. You assume that they will continue to do so. But if you haven't kept in touch with them, if you haven't, told them how things are going, then, they might disappear on you. This is something that you need to ensure is built and is a solid relationship, and you show your appreciation. Let them know, thank you for putting me in front of this individual, or encouraging them to consider me for this role. I really enjoy this role. I feel like I've grown, I've developed as a person, I've developed these skills. I want to continue learning these other things. And so you're already letting them know, like, this is the sort of thing that I'm interested in. So the next time they're in a position where something comes up, they can be like, oh yeah, I know someone who can do that. So having a mentor is great, and I think we all in science at least have had at least one mentor. It might have been your professor, it might have been a postdoc during your graduate studies, it could have been someone outside of your group, depending on the group dynamic, but you may not be familiar with the term sponsor. And I'm going to say that having a sponsor, especially when you're preparing to leave, is even more important than having a mentor. Because remember, a mentor may not support you, may not encourage you, may not act as a sponsor. So let's think about it. Have you got one? And if you don't have one, I encourage you to go and start looking for someone suitable to take that role. So I hope that helps. And please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.